Okay, so today I'm going to talk about my vacation in the Philippines that I took like 6 months ago from December to January. I really enjoyed my time there and I fell in love with the Philippines. So to give like some background. So the first time I went to the Philippines was about 20 years ago, so I didn't really remember anything. And I want to talk about like my neutral, positive, and negative experiences there. I wasn't completely sure about making this video because it might be kind of like controversial and seem like I'm criticizing like certain aspects of like Filipino culture, which I'm not. I'm just talking about how I experienced everything from like a Filipino American perspective, if that makes sense. Because these are the kind of videos that I enjoy watching. I like to get to know like different cultures and learn about like different countries, so I also want to be able to remember my experiences there because this was one of the best vacations I've ever had. So I definitely want to go back soon again, which I like didn't expect. I didn't think I'd want to go back, which is weird because I am like Filipino, but when I like booked the flight with my mom and we like bought the tickets, I had like zero expectations. I was really excited though because I love traveling. I try to like go into anything without having any expectations because I don't want to be let down. Luckily, I was blown away by how much fun I have and how proud to be Filipino I am after like I experienced this vacation. So yeah, I was there for 1 month and like my family and I traveled around a lot. I went to Banaue, La Union, Baguio, Bohol, Taal Volcano, Panlao, Chocolate Hills, Batangas. Went to a lot of different places. I'm not going to name them all. I could probably make a separate video about like each place I went to because that's like how obsessed I am with like nature and like the scenery there, like landscapes. Tried a lot of different foods too. I tried balut. I tried a lot of different international cuisines that I've never had before, like authentic Korean and Japanese food, so that was cool. And I made like a Philippines video of like my favorite places that I went to. So those places were like the most like breathtaking to me, especially Banaue, because Banaue was my dream travel destination for probably around 5 to 7 years. I was like totally obsessed with that place. I had it like as like the wallpaper of my laptop for a really long time. Always like dreamt about going there, and I finally got to go there. Like when I like talk about it, like why are there like tears like brimming in my eyes? I'm like, ugh, I just love like nature. Like it's so like beautiful to like be able to like experience and see something so like it's so hard to describe, like beautiful and it like ethereal. It's like no other experience. Some of my like culture shock experiences in general. By the way, I'm not trying to put anything like in a negative light. This is kind of like my point of view and experience again, like in case anyone like gets offended, because I know people always get offended when you say certain things. So I'm just talking about what I noticed. I'm not trying to like put down any place or anyone. Like I love the Philippines and I'm a very open-minded person. The first thing that probably the main thing that I had a hard time adapting to. I can usually adapt to like a different lifestyle pretty easily, so it wasn't really like a huge deal, but still. Like this is what was very different to me from like my normal day-to-day life here in America. And by the way, I'm reading off my phone because I like made all these, oh my gosh, look how many notes I made. Wait, I didn't even know you could see that on camera. That's kind of scary. Okay. So I'm a person that requires personal space and privacy in order to survive, in order to mentally cope. And one of the things I've never had experience with before was like the lack of personal space. Like in California where I live, it's pretty free and open except in big cities. So my personal bubble, which is like 100 feet, like everyone just like stay like 100 feet away from me and then we'll be fine. My personal bubble here is never broken, but in the Philippines, I can tell you that like my comfort zone was challenged so many times because there's like no such thing as like personal space. Like people pack in like sardines in the elevator, the airport, jeepney rides, the wet markets, etc. One time on one of my many jeepney rides someone's like butt was like halfway up onto my leg, and I was just like, excuse me, sir, in my head. He probably didn't even think anything of it, but I was furious in my head. I was just like, like, this is normal. Like, I don't want people sitting on me. Anyways, the vast amount of people there, I've never seen so many people in my life. It's scary. It made me think about like how, wow, the world is such a big place, but it's also kind of a small world if you think about it. Yeah, so I didn't like those things, like, personally, because I have issues with it. Like, I barely even really hug my friends because I'm not an affectionate person. Love you guys. I just have issues. So that was a major shocker to me, that whole experience. But I can see how some people don't mind that at all because that's their, like, day-to-day life. But after a while, it didn't really bother me that much. Traffic laws are insane. I don't know if it's like that in most Asian countries, but there's no traffic lights in a lot of places, especially the provinces. Like, people just stop and go. They just be stopping and going, and it's terrifying. By the way, there's also no seatbelts in the back of some of, like, certain cars, I guess, and, like, vans, I guess some of the older ones. The weather, it was very humid. Like, I was sweating 24/7, but it wasn't as hot as where I live right now. I'm, like, sweating right now, so I didn't mind it that much. Like, weather doesn't really affect me in general. Like, I could probably live in, like, any climate, although I would say that I'd probably like to live somewhere colder, just because I've been living in, like, hot places, or, like, going to, like, places that are really hot for a long time, and I'm, like, it's starting to take a toll on me. Like, I'm losing brain cells, my brain is fried because of the heat. Like, there hasn't been a day where I haven't sweat at least one drop. And I have, like, a fan on me, 2 fans on. But yeah, it wasn't that bad there as it is here, like, where I live. Although it was a bit difficult to be emo and, like, be my, like, casual goth self when it's that hot. Also, some random things I noticed are that they have security guards with shotguns in front of some of the stores, like drug stores, which I thought was interesting. I've never seen that before. There's so many employees. There's like 50 million 50 million employees at the department store, and like, you can't, like, window shop. Like, there's no such thing as window shopping. Like, I was at the mall and I was, like, looking at something. Like, you can't look at anything in peace without getting, like, bombarded by, like, a person and, like, questions and, like, them trying to, like, sell things to you. I don't know if they, like, get commission or anything, or if that's just, like, how the culture is there. Like, I was just trying to look at a bed sheet one time, and, like, the lady started opening it up and, like, taking it out of the the plastic bag, and I was just like, like, I'm just looking, like, let me window shop. Window shopping is one of my hobbies here, and I've, like, never felt pressured at all until I went there, like, to, like, buy things. But, like, here I'm not pressured. Like, even when I go into, like, stores that are a little bit more expensive, like, people leave me alone. Like, they say, oh, can I help you? And I'm just like, no. And then they leave. And I'm like, thank you. But again, it's not really a problem. It's just like a difference, if that makes sense. So I'm not criticizing anything. And some people might like that. So I'm very introverted, and I do not like confrontation. I just do not like, I do not like interaction unless it's absolutely necessary, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't like small talk, and I don't like people coming up to me for no reason. Wow, this is just gonna be a video about me complaining about my own personality. So there's a lot of stray cats and dogs there, which is really sad. I saw, like, stray kittens and they were so cute. The fashion and style there is, like, very different, and it's, like, summery. Ooh, clothes are washed in buckets, and they don't have washing machines and dryers in a lot of places, like at my family's house, so, like, the clothes are hung outside to dry. There's no dishwashers either. Like, the people are the dishwashers, but we don't use a dishwasher here at home. Like, I don't even think I knew a dishwasher existed until I was probably, like, 11 or 12, because we never, like, used it in my family. We just, like, washed the dishes ourselves. Oh, at the end of church, like Catholic church mass, people run up to the priest to get blessed by him, and that's, like, different from, like, here. Like, we just, like, at the end of mass, we kind of, like, line up and, like, shake the priest's hand and, like, talk to him a little bit. but like there, like everyone like like runs up, like a crowd of people surround the priest. I thought it was kind of funny actually, and he like blesses people. There's a lot of fake designer brands. The architecture is different. Surprisingly, there's a lot of brutalist architecture. Look it up if you don't know what that is, which is like my favorite type of architecture. It's like concrete structures, and I like that. I like how they have that, and they have like different types of like buildings from here. It's just cool to see something different, you know, because your surroundings can really affect like who you are and like how you think, you know. I went on a 12-hour road trip, and I saw a lot of different towns and villages and people, and like people would just stand like on the outside, like in the front of their homes. Even like the dogs would be standing like out in the road, and I'd just be like, why are they doing that? I never asked, why do they do that? Like where I live, it's rare to see even one person outside their house. It's really weird. Like I could just walk outside right now and there would be like no one outside. People are always offering you food, which is a good thing. And I also felt a lot of people staring at me too, I guess, because I don't look like the average like Filipino. I don't know what I look like anymore. I'm like very ethnically ambiguous. Negative experiences, which I guess I don't really want to label them as negative, but they had a negative effect on me, I should say. And okay, so this is the main thing. Everyone already knows about this by now. I talked about it in like my Filipino tag video, but one of the things that bothered me the most was probably the amount of whitening products and advertisements I was seeing everywhere, like on huge, giant billboards, like probably like wider than my house. I don't know. I can't do calculations like that, but probably wider than my house, I would say. And like there's this like idea of colorism and like internalized racism that's prevalent in a lot of Asian countries, and I absolutely hate it. I loathe it. Racism to me is the most disgusting thing like on this planet. It literally like makes my like blood boil, and to think that like people are treated like differently for the color of their skin like boggles my mind, because like when I was growing up I never even thought that was a thing, you know, like it's just it's not good. Like it's 2020, we should move past that point. So, but whatever, people want to stay in their ignorant bubbles. I personally don't like the idea that kids might be born there thinking that they're ugly or worth less than a person with lighter skin, because they're like constantly seeing these ads everywhere, and oh, like you should use this product if you want to be like whiter and beautiful, and you want to be more beautiful, because like being white or having light skin is considered like the standard of beauty. Like having these like Eurocentric beauty features is like the standard of beauty in so many countries. And I think that's another idea that needs to be over with. But, you know, these companies and corporations are continuing that idea by keeping these products on the market. And that's, like, all for money and greed. And they're ruining people's lives. Anyways, before I go into another political rant, even, like, no matter what video I make, I'm just, like, complaining about the government and, like, world society. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Another thing I didn't like is that it seems like in general Filipino people are very like up into your business, like they want to know everything about you, and obviously maybe to some people, to most people probably that could be a positive thing because they want to get to know you. But for me personally, again, I'm a very private person. Like I don't like people knowing about me in general. Like I don't want to exist. Like I don't want people to know, to be aware of my existence, so I could just disappear one day and people would forget about me and they wouldn't think about me again. Is that like my plan? Why am I even saying that? Like that's why I always went back and forth with this YouTube channel, and why there's like so many like long gaps in between the times that I like make videos, is because I like don't like people seeing my face, first of all, and I just don't like being recognized as a person. That doesn't even make sense. I have problems. Okay, so anyways, they're very up in your business. They comment on everything, like your weight, your hair, your eye shape. So I guess just to anyone who's going there, be aware that it's a cultural thing. It's not, I guess it's not necessarily a negative thing if you think about it. It's just different. Because I would say most people here, like, mind their own business, but it's not like that every, like, country, and you have to be, like, open-minded about it. Just be aware of that, because you might get your feelings hurt unintentionally, which I did. Let me just say, I did get my feelings hurt. I'm, like, a sensitive person. So, I don't think that they're, like, meant to hurt you. I think they're just, like, used to, like, making comments like that, if that makes sense. And there was, like, also a lot of, like, poverty and pollution, obviously, and it sucks because when I went there, I almost felt like a mindless tourist, and I don't like that. Like, I want to be able to help in some way, you know? Instead of just, like, donating money, I'd rather, like, donate time and, like, volunteer, so I'm probably gonna look into that next time. I don't know what I'll do, because I just don't like, oh, like, look at me, I'm so privileged, I'm here on vacation while I see people on the street starving and, like, homeless. I mean, that's here too, obviously, in America, like San Francisco. I lived in the Bay Area, and it's, like, it's just such a, like, difficult thing to think about. Like, you want to help, but you don't know how, because it's such a, like, systemic and, like, major problem in so many countries. What is this world coming to? So these are things to just expect if whoever watches this is looking to go there. Those are things to expect. So there's a lot of things, like I was talking about before, like the colorism and, like, commenting on everything, that are this idea of, like, toxic Filipino culture. And if you look that up, you can see, like, the same things, like, people were talking about the same things as me, so don't just criticize me, like, this is, like, an actual problem. But this is a travel video, so I'm not gonna, like, get into that. I just wanted to be honest about my experience and talk about everything, not just the good things, because that's not realistic when you make, like, a video, like, on a vacation and, like, visiting a new country and, like, experiencing, like, a different culture. So anywhere I go, I know I'll experience, like, both negative and positive things. If you're, like, a foreigner and you're not Filipino, maybe you won't even experience these certain things. So it was just what I experienced as, like, a Filipino American. Okay, so this is my conclusion. I'm going to talk about my positive experiences, which definitely outweigh my negative experiences. Like, when I think of the Philippines, I don't think about my negative experiences. I think about, like, my positive experiences. And even though I had times where, like, while I was there, I was, like, mad at, like, certain things, maybe because my mom was being strict. Love you, Mom, though. So even though I experienced some negative things, and I felt those things, like, deeply at the time, and was even angry and, like, maybe lashed out at people and was like, no, and, like, complaining, like, when I reflecting on it now, even though there are those negative things, like, nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect, and once I reflected on them, it never affected my view of, like, the Filipino people in general, and, like, my family, and, like, how proud I am to be Filipino. I think Filipino people in general are, like, the nicest and most welcoming people ever. But I also think pride can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. If it goes too far, like, it can be dangerous if it goes too far. Like, you have to be able to acknowledge the downfalls of every culture and every type of society and government. Like, I could probably make, like, a 50-hour video, like, the US government. I think it's patriotic. You can be considered more patriotic if you can acknowledge every aspect of a certain country or, like, culture or government, because you want it to grow and you want it to change for the better, if that makes sense. So that's why I think we need to talk about these things more. Like, humanity, like, people just need to talk about these things more and, like, get these issues solved. Racism, like, colorism, all these, like, things, because it's, like, ruining us. Climate change, like, that's ruining all of us, but y'all don't care. And by y'all, I mean, I'm not gonna say who. Anyways, I think if you're a foreigner and you go there, I think you'll feel at home, even if you're surrounded by strangers, because people will welcome you, even if you're not Filipino. They'll, like, welcome you, like, you, as if you are. So I don't even think a foreigner would, like I said before, would experience many negative things going there. Also, I really love Filipino fashion, like the young adults and teens dress really well. I love the style there, and just Asian style in general. It's very different from how people in the US dress. Also, Filipino superstitions and mythology and history is very fascinating to me. Like, there's all these like monsters and creatures and tales that were somehow created, and stories were passed down from generation to generation. So it's so fascinating to me because some people, and this is a Catholic, like mostly Catholic Christian country, and many people genuinely believe in these like creatures. So I was like trying to get down to the bottom of this. Like, I wanted to know if these creatures were real or not, but I didn't come up with any answers, unfortunately. So next time I go back, I'm gonna look for an aswang. We're gonna go aswang hunting. I love mythology and I love horror, so that was one of my favorite things to learn more in depth about while I was there. And most importantly, the landscapes, like I said at the beginning of the video, like all these places I went to, Banaue, all of these beaches, the chocolate hills, so breathtakingly beautiful. I've never experienced that type of ethereal beauty before, like really in my life. Like, I've been to really beautiful places before, but there, like my mind was like, I was like blown. So like when I saw Banaue, like the thought came into my head, like I can die happy now just because I've seen like that place, because it was a place that I've always dreamed about, that I thought only existed in my dreams, because I was like, how can a place be that beautiful? But so being able to see it like with my own eyes, it just changed me. It truly did. Philippines is a very like beautiful country, like not just the people but also like the actual terrain. I also really like how the buildings are set up. Like, people have their own stores in front of their homes. Like, my aunt and like other like people in my family have like their own stores in front of their houses, and like the markets are all really close and convenient and they're everywhere. I love photography, and I always look back at my pictures that I took and I'm like, wow, I got the best pictures ever while I was there. Food was so good, like good as F. Like, you wouldn't believe the things I put in my mouth besides balut that I hated. Everything else was so good. Like, I was blown away by the different types of cuisines that they have. Filipino dessert is the best, by the way. Like, I gained like 300 pounds while I was there because it was so good. Last but not least, I would like to talk about my favorite experience beside going to Banaue. My favorite experience was snorkeling, which I have a new obsession with. Like, I use my virtual reality headset to like pretend I'm snorkeling again because I went snorkeling for the first time and like it was so amazing. Like, I felt like a mermaid, and I saw all these like various types of marine life, coral, starfish, rainbow fish. It was so beautiful, and honestly one of the most fun and relaxing things I've ever experienced in my life. Like, it like brought like this like feeling that I've never like had before. Like, I was just so happy to like be swimming. Like, I just want to snorkel forever, endlessly. Like, my idea of heaven is me just snorkeling. Like, being able to breathe underwater. No sharks, no weird creatures, just the cute ones. I felt like snorkeling and like seeing all of these beautiful places really made me think like, wow, this is God's creation. It was all so like new to me, and I can't wait to go back if I get the chance to. Overall, I had the best time. I want to go back for sure. It was a life-changing trip for me, and I feel like it really opened my mind. I think that's it. Whoever watches this, thank you for watching, because this will probably be a long video.